team. As you heard from his press conference, they will not be seeking any criminal charges in this matter. Now, what we all really know, and a lot of us weren't even surprised by his announcement, is that it takes courage to have political office. It takes courage to be a prosecutor. It takes courage to fight for justice. And we didn't see that in this situation. We were disappointed that he's not seeking justice. We were disappointed that they didn't even take it to a grand jury. We were disappointed in reading this very biased report that they didn't even follow up with a lot of the witnesses and re-interview them. We were disappointed that the statements were written in favor of the offending officer. We were very disappointed that they relied on the two experts from the federal government that found that the actions were justified and didn't try and seek other opinions. It seemed to be an investigation that relied solely on those two experts and not on looking at the facts. We asked them, is it accurate that Officer Salamone walked up and put a gun to Alton's head and said, "I'll shoot you in the fucking head"? That is accurate. That is what happened. There is no justification for it. That is not the behavior that any officer should have. In our opinion, that is criminal. Every action, if you read this bias report that they submitted, was initiated by the officers. Every physical action. From the gun to the head to the flying tackle by Salamone. And yet no charges. But that's fine because we know that it takes strength. And we know that the repercussions isn't getting violent, getting upset, it's getting you out of office. That's how you hold accountability. The only thing people care about is power. This was a political decision. That's all it was. So in order to respond, we will hold you politically accountable from city council, mayor, police chief, attorney general, whoever you may be if you aren't standing up for justice. People out there are getting smarter. We know that to hold you accountable is to get rid of your job if you're not going to step up. What the Attorney General said is, I don't think we could have got a prosecution if we had taken it to a grand jury. It's not about thinking. It's about standing up for justice and taking action and dealing with the results. If you lose, but lose with pride. Lose having fought for this family that's gone through all of this. Don't take the easy way out, relying on the federal government or playing brownie points with this current administration. Because the repercussion will be you will not have this job in the future. So no, if you're expecting people to be crying and upset and pissed off, it's not going to happen. We'll be very upset when it's re-election time for every single person involved in this situation, because this wasn't justice. But we will put people in office who will hold people accountable, because that appears to be the only thing that people care about.
Hey, Michael Adams and Brandon DeQueer, representing part of the family. We are also very disappointed in what happened. But listen, this fight is not over with. We have filed our civil suit, and justice will be served. We will prove in a court of law that the actions of these officers were outrageous. They were not necessary. They exceeded all bounds of decency. You know, there's a line in the movie A Few Good Men where Tom Cruise asked Gene Hackman in a jury scene about telling the truth. And Gene Hackman looks at him and he says, "You can't stand the truth." That's sort of how we feel today. Baton Rouge, you're going to have to hear the truth of what actually happened in this situation. There'll be no more closed-door meetings from this point on. There'll be no more secret investigations. There'll be no more confidential reports. We're now in a civil lawsuit, and we're going to put it all out under the light of day. And all of America will know exactly how poor the policing was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on July 5th. And so we're going to bring this case now to action, and we're putting on notice the city of Baton Rouge, the Metro Council, our mayor, our police department, that we're going to tell the truth. We're going to find the truth out. And we're going to show that it was a culture of conduct and behavior that got us to this point. This is not just an isolated incident. This was not just a one-time bad situation. These guys had an attitude and a behavior and operated in a culture where they thought that they could be bullies, that they thought that they could take the life of this black man. And so now justice will be served in the 19th Judicial District Civil Court.
Edmund Jordan, representing Sandra Sterling. Like everyone else has said, I am extremely disappointed with this decision. The Attorney General said he had to look at the same burden of proof that the federal government had. And on one level, that's correct, but he's looking at state laws, not federal civil rights laws. And I believe that based on the state laws, we certainly had enough, at least, for aggravated assault, if not negligent homicide. Again, the Attorney General decided not to bring any of those charges. But let me step away and move away from that for 1 second, because really it's not about any of the attorneys standing up here. It's about this family. It's about the stress. And people look at this, and you can look at New York and what happened with Eric Garner and the tragic death of his daughter and fighting for justice for him. And we have a similar case right here. All these family members have gone through stress, anxiety, health issues. And for Sandra Sterling, and I'm sure you're going to hear from her in a second, and most people certainly don't know this stress has caused health issues for her as well. And I just want everybody, because when you go on Facebook and you go on Twitter and you make statements about family members and loved ones of these people, some positive, some negative, I want you to think about the families that you are affecting. And so rather than me say any more, I think it's time that you hear again from Sandra Sterling and from the children and loved ones of Alton, and let them tell you how they feel and the effect that it's had on them. Sandra, you want to go? Can we move this? The mic is right there.
Okay. This is what I could say. Good morning. I could tell you that my speech is kind of stirred because I had to stress. But sitting in this meeting this morning, with Jeff Landy sat at the table, and he began to talk to us. And as he started talking to everybody, I had to stop the meeting and say, "Excuse me, sir, what is your name?" And then he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Jeff Landy." Right there, that was disrespect, because I didn't even know who he was. So when he began to tell us all these lies, I had to stop the meeting again, and I said, "Thank you, sir, very much. But I heard that you was running for the governor. You would not get my vote because a man was murdered, and you lied." And then I asked him, "Do you remember the quote? Because I've been seeing a lot of ads from some of y'all's stations where you are showing when DOJ came down here to Baton Rouge, and he made a statement, but y'all never edited the last part of the statement. But I'm going to tell you what the last end of that statement said. It said, I couldn't sleep at night at what I saw on that video. I lost sleep at night at what I saw on that video. And for you to edit only the part that he said about the decision that was made, shame on you for that. And then for Jeff Landy to say, oh, I applaud him. Shame on him. And shame on him and his committee for making that decision that he made on Alton Sterling. And for all the people that say that Alton Sterling was a bad man and he should have been killed, shame on y'all for that. Because you know what? You all have kids too. And to put Blaine Salamone back on the street of Baton Rouge, you putting a killer back on the streets. So you watch your kids at night. That's all I have to say. And we don't cry no more. That's why you don't see no tears. We don't have nothing to cry about.
Have you prepared yourself to never get justice?
I'm going to get justice, but from a higher power.
What about the video, Ms. Sterling, the video that everyone is calling to be released?
Oh, you just wait. Now, 3 more videos are coming out about the killing of Alton Sterling. I said today that I not cry today. But this is what I'm going to ask Baton Rouge. You're going to cry again. Because when you see those other 3 videos, how Blaine Salamone killed Alton Sterling, you're going to cry again. And when you cry again, you tell the Sterling family, I'm sorry. You apologize to us. You don't have to do it to us personally, but give it to us in your prayers. Now, any more questions for me?
Is there anything you want to say to the AG, to the Attorney
To
General?
Attorney General, you won't get my vote, because guess what? I'm a voter. You won't get my vote, sir.
If you could speak to the officers, what would you say to them?
Shame on you, Blaine Salamone. Shame on you for killing Alton Sterling the way you did. You took an oath to protect and serve, not to protect and kill. You made a decision that night, and it was a bad one. What Jamal, the preacher, said in one of his sermons, you killed the wrong man, sir.
Ma'am, there are a lot of cameras here from national press organizations, and so this is going to go out to millions of Americans. What do you want to tell the American people who did follow this case and they don't know Alton Sterling? What do you want to say to them?
We did not get any justice. The system failed us.
Yeah, like they say, the system failed us.
System failed us.
Alton,
The
person that they tried to make him become was not that person that we knew of.
he was not a monster. He was not a monster. I'm telling you, he was not a monster.
And that's something that they can never take.
Yeah, they can't take that. He was not a monster. Because let me tell you something.
Alton Sterling's oldest son, mother, Cameron Sterling. I would not allow Cameron to be here today for his reasons. And like his aunt say, we all out of tears. We have nothing else in us to cry about now because guess what? We all knew what it was, just like y'all knew what it was going to be. But one thing about God that we serve, and if you believe that God that I believe in, he do not sleep, nor do he slumber. So we may not get justice here on this earth, but let me tell you something. You see, when God comes, he's going to come. And we all going to know, because you know why? It may be just this day that Howard Lake say, you know what, it's time for me to be honest. It's time for me to really tell what really happened. You see, because Alton can't tell his story to you nor to me. He's gone. There's no more coming back. So there's not no amount of money on this earth, in this world, that can give those kids back that they're a father. They took a human away. They took a father away. They took somebody away that did not deserve to be away. The way they killed him was in cold blood. You know it. I know it. But yes, the system has failed us. Yes, we are disappointed. But as a family, we're going to stay strong. And we're going to keep each other prayed up. The devil thought he won, but he did it.
And we're going to continue to fight. This is not the
Ma'am, why do you think it's hard to prosecute police officers?
invited into the building. I don't understand why she couldn't come in. I just want somebody, anybody can answer that question for me? If there was a family,
And you know what else? You know what else I want to say about Blaine Salamone? I got to say this. I had an epiphany this morning, because I'm in rehab, but I had an epiphany this morning about Blaine Salamone. Well, by them doing that this morning, they gave him his job back, right? Well, right now, I don't think he's doing too good, because he had a job that gave him a detail. Well, the detail gave him the money. Well, now you got your job back, but you're not going to have a detail, which gave you a house, maybe a boat. So now your little kids not going to have that. Now, Alton is a part of history right now, right? Well, guess what? Your little children are going to go to school, and they're going to read one day. Daddy name in the book as my daddy killed somebody. Guess what you're going to have to deal with, Blaine Salamone? Your children are going to see you in the history book as a killer. How you going to feel about that, Blaine Salamone? Your children are going to know you was a killer. That's what I want the world news to know. And the future Alton Sterling is going to be in a history book. But it's a doggone shame they're going to learn that their daddy was a killer. Shame on you, Blaine Salamone. Blame on you, the Attorney General. Because guess what y'all did? Because I don't think nobody in here knew Alton Sterling before Alton Sterling was killed. Why y'all trying to make him out to be a monster? Y'all ain't know him before he was killed, right? But now all of a sudden he a monster? Come on, get out of here with that. He ain't no monster. Come on, this was a family man. A family man. But now he a monster. Come on, get out of here with that. I read a whole bunch of lies this morning. Get out of here with that.
Do you all ever think you'll be able to get to the point where you can forgive? Is that something you all are?
We already
Who
forgave.
said we been forgave?
Let me tell you something. It's not a hate bone that we got for Salamone. We just wanted justice. That's it.
Follow up on
just wanted
Gabe's
to-
question. Why do you think it is so hard to get justice for family members who have been victims of police shootings?
I mean, that's
All you do is you Google Blaine Salamone and Howie Lake and Google their family members.
Everybody else,
That is the problem.
everybody else
That's
might
the
be
problem.
scared to
Their
say
family
it,
members are
but it
linked
got to
to
be
law
said
enforcement.
today.
As long as their family
It got to
members
be
are
said
linked to law
today.
enforcement, nothing is
When the
done
Ku
to them.
Klux Klan infiltrates law enforcement, they become the Blue Klux Klan with a license to kill. Blaine Salamone is the Blue Klux Klan, and he murdered Alton Sterling. The video shows it. Everybody else pussyfooting around through the tulips. We came to let you know that when the Ku Klux Klan infiltrates law enforcement, they become the Blue Klux Klan with a license to kill. There are race soldiers all across America, and the head wizard sits at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, giving them the okay to murder and commit brutality on blacks. Point blank.
You know, the report right here is pretty clear of how you get away with it. If you look at this report, which they have been made very public, I think they even put it on the website or something like that. They put his criminal history, which has nothing to do with anything in this situation. They put the toxicology report. They put all type of stuff in here that has nothing to do with the night of the shooting. The wording in it is very pro the officers. If this was a report of just findings, you put the findings. You don't bias it towards being accepted by your constituency. That's how you get away with it. You get away with it by killing somebody in 60 seconds before even talking to them or trying to calm them down or speaking to them. Alton never threw a punch, a kick, anything. And he was shot in 60 seconds.
He asked, what did I do? Man, what
So,
did I do? don't even know why he died.
Look through the facts of this report. He even told the officers, "Man, I have a gun." He told them. They also keep trying to make out to look like he was a criminal. This man sold CDs in front of this convenience store every night to provide for his kids. He wasn't out there robbing people, killing people, doing anything like that. He was selling CDs to support his family at night. So, you know, that's how people get away with it. They get away with it by putting it right in your face and calling it an official report.
Mr. Stewart, can you follow up a little bit on how you started this out by saying y'all are going to make this right at the ballot box? Tell me about this political campaign and how you really intend to, or maybe Representative Marcel can make this right by electing people who are going to bring justice to
We're certainly going to start a voter registration drive like you've never seen before. And I think we're not going to get answers until we change the people who are in office. And we can't change the people in office unless we register them to vote and come out and let them know that this is unacceptable. We're going to demand that you do your job. You took an oath of office. We demand that you go by that oath of office that you took. And when you don't, we need to eliminate you. It's just that simple. We don't need a bunch of marches or a bunch of burning buildings or a bunch of burning cars. What we need is a bunch of burning people with burning hearts to replace people that are not doing their jobs. I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that that happens.
And make sure you get rid of the mayor, too, because she wasn't up here either.
And look, whoever asked that question, you have to understand from the very beginning, this administration said that they were not going to be looking into prosecuting officers, keeping up with the consent decrees, things of that nature. That leads to this kind of behavior where some officers out there feel like they can bully people in the communities, predominantly in black minority communities. You can't just run to a lawyer that's around the corner. It's a lot harder.
None of these,
You can't.
None of these police are residents of Baton Rouge.
Neither one of them. So it's a lot harder.
They don't even live
And especially when you get justified to behave the way that Salamone did, and hopefully he won't have a job for much longer.
What's the status of your civil lawsuit against the city and the officers?
It's moving along fine. In fact, we had a conference call about a week or so ago with the parish attorney. At this point, we told him that expect anything and everything. We're coming. I guess obviously the big question is when are we going to see this video? I think once that video is made available, and obviously now that there has been no indication of an indictment or any criminal charge that anything held in this office's possession and the Baton Rouge Police Department's possession is no longer subject to any exception for disclosure. That means everything is available. We will be looking at this information very carefully to make sure that it hasn't been edited or redacted to show a different scenario than what we've been led to believe in all of these various reports that have been provided to us. But to answer your question, yes, we're going to move this thing along quite fast, quite quickly, seeing as that we've had a federal government that investigated it for 10 months, interviewed all of the same witnesses. We had a state investigation for another 10 months that interviewed all the same witnesses. I don't see why we can't get this thing moved pretty quickly.
Well, when it comes to the civil litigation, are you guys, you can never put a price on a life, but are you guys seeking any kind of monetary payment? Are you all handling handling this pro bono for the family as well?
So first and foremost, we want to make sure that the police officers are held what we call negligent under the civil standards. So yes, we are seeking justice through a civil negligence component. With that, as we all know, the only way to compensate or to bring about any closure will be through whatever the jury determines is just for Mr. Sterling's life. And at that point, we will know whether justice was delivered.
Listen. Up until this time, we've been hamstrung on moving the civil case forward because of the 2 criminal investigations. But like I said earlier, the light of day now and the gloves are off. The light of day now will be shined on this case. We now have the ability to go in, and we will quickly obtain all of those videotapes, and we're going to release them in the public. We want everybody to see exactly what happened. We want everybody to know what the truth is, and we want to then proceed with our civil case. We're going to then put witnesses under oath. We're going to put, everybody who was out there that night, Mrs. Salamone and Mr. Lake, they will have to talk to us. We finally now will get the opportunity to move this civil case forward, and we're seeking justice for this family. But under our civil rules, ultimately that means a judgment, which is a money judgment. We can't do anything in the world to bring Alton Sterling back. But under the American civil justice system, the only thing we can do now is to recover a monetary award for them. And so we're putting the Metro Council on notice. We're putting the city of Baton Rouge on notice. Do the right thing. Let's bring this community back together. Let's do the right thing with this case.
You mentioned the officers' jobs. I understand the disciplinary decision by the police chief has not come down yet. It might come down sometime today or this week. What do you want to see with that? What do you want the police chief to do?
It matters not what his decision is. If he chooses to keep them, that's fine. There's a standard that they still have to abide by, which is the law.
They need to be fired.
They need to be
They need to be fired.
First and
Period.
foremost, they should be fired. But what he decides in terms of discipline is between him and his officers. However, our measure of justice will come inside of that courtroom, which we intend to bring those officers there and to explain their action to our community in the form of a jury. One of the things that neither the federal government did nor the state attorney general did here was put this evidence in front of you and let you guys look at it. He independently decided, I don't think this is enough. Under our justice, under our court, you have to at least have 12 people in a box that make this decision. He independently made it. We want 12 people to look at this information and see what the result may be. I gotta believe it will be completely different. The other thing is, it's interesting enough, this video that's sitting out there that no one has seen. For everyone from the U.S. Attorney here in Baton Rouge to the FBI office in New Orleans to the State Attorney General here, for every one of them to say that that video is bad, but no one wants to give it to us. They all want to sit there and hold on to it and keep it somewhere and say, oh, I've sent it back to the federal government, or I sent it to the sources that had it. It's strange that the mayor and her office have been sitting on this video for at least 3 or 4 days, and no one has seen it. But yet we get called here today to tell them, oh, we've sent it back 3 days ago. A lot of things are strange about this case that we're going to find out real fast.
But they need to be terminated. And thank y'all.
All of them need to be terminated.
Thank you, guys.
The mayor and all of them need to get out of there.